Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have not had a chance to make one of these videos in a long time because each set since Surgeon Spark, well pretty much Surgeon Spark, Prismatic Evolution, cards only go up, but Battle Partners or Journeys Together is actually acting like a normal set prior to the boom, prior to November boom from Surgeon Spark. So usually when cards come out, I always expect them to drop 30, 40, even 50% sometimes, right? Depending on how popular that card is going to be for collectors and how playable it is. But we haven't had that opportunity to make this kind of video because every card, like I said, Surgeon Spark, Prismatic Evolution, has only gone up after release. So this set is actually acting normal and people are kind of panicking because they're so quick to forget that cards come out hot and they lose value right away as more cards are put out to be sold, right? It's a race to the bottom usually. That's why I always say you wait for 30% drop or 3 to 6 months after a card has come out. And to remind you guys, so cards before the Surgeon Spark sets, cards that come out, they drop about 30%. This dropped about 40% from the highs. Blood Moon Ursaluna, this card is down 60% from its high. And this is what you want to buy. You want to buy around this area where the price line has just been flat for 6 months. This is a $40 card, like, right? That's what the market is telling you. It's a $40 card. More, you know, it's a balance. Like there's been supply out there for months, and then people are still willing to buy it around the $40 mark. Even this card dropped 62% from its release day highs. So there are exceptions. Right? Raging Bolt is a very playable card, top 3 in the meta. So cards like these, where you round 3 of, it's going to be more valuable to players than collectors. And then when you have to combine the two, collectors and players, brings up the price. You see something like this. Or it could just be a buyout candidate like this Greninja. Very hyped up. Was not hyped up that much. People were not in love with this card. People fell in love with the price. So you got to think of stuff like that. If there's a buyout for a particular card that gets hyped, expect the price to go up because there's very limited supply in the beginning. And when that happens, the buyout happens, it's never going to come back down because now it's established at a very high price. And people will want to chase that for the value. So keep in mind for all of these things. So Paranoid was a $80 card, roughly, dropped down to a low of 55, so 30% drop. So like I said, Iron Crown, Terrapagos, 30 to 50% drop. So let's do some price predictions for these, all right? Across the board, Clefairy is going to be the most playable card, I believe, in this set. So I will give this one some kind of playability, collectability combo of value-wise. Like, it won't drop as much because more people will want it. I think this is going to be a collector's card. I bought this already. Japanese, $37. Do not buy your English. If you want to collect, just collect Japanese. It's way cheaper. So let's get to the price prediction. So I expect at least a 20% drop from all of these cards. That will bring Clefairy down to 167, Salamence at 108. So only 2 cards will be above $100. And even then, I don't expect those prices to be the minimum they'll drop to. I expect them to drop even more. Just because if you look at overall rankings where these cards will rank after their drop, some cards are just going to be worth more or less based on how popular they are compared to another card that's worth the same amount. Now, I like to give you guys my personal price prediction for these cards. These price ranges are going to be anywhere from a 20 to 40% drop, most of them. And I like to give my prediction based on how I think the cards will play out based on popularity, if it's playable or not, how popular the Pokemon is, how desirable that artwork is for collectors, right? There will be manipulation, there will be buyouts, there will be cards that will get hyped up, and that price will just never get to that price that I predicted. But most case scenarios, 3 to 6 months from now, these are the prices I think they will hit. Now, comment down below if you think it's too high, too low, what you think the price prediction should be at the lowest point that these cards will hit. And I think that's usually the buy trigger. Like where it bottoms is where you want to buy it at, right? So Clefairy being the #1 chase card in this set, I can see it going down to 150. Now, 150 might seem like really low in today's market, right? But that will put it right below the Paldean Face Charizard, which is a top 10 chase card. It's going to be more than my low take, which is about 130 right now. If it gets to 150, that's going to be the lowest, right? It could be anywhere, like 20% drop, had it at 167. So it could go as low as just at 170, less than 20% drop. But you know, this is the first week after it came out, so I don't think 210 is going to be the final price. So it's going to be somewhere between 170 and 150 in my eyes. Now on to Salamence, my personal favorite card in this set. Already bought this in Japanese for $37, so big difference in English and Japanese. My price prediction, $80. That seems really low. But usually most SIRs are under $100, right? It's not a top tier chase card that's going to be over $100. So my price prediction is $80, and that'll be a 40% drop. And Zoroark, I think it's going to drop 45% down to $65 from where it's at right now. I've seen it being played in some videos. I don't know how meta breaking it is. I don't think it's going to be that great. If it just comes down to collectors, I don't think Zoroark is that popular of a Pokemon. it's got to be less than Selling Man. So at this point, $65 seems still kind of high for his reward card, but that's usually around where most SIRs like Temporal Forces are sitting at right now. So I think it's fair value around $65. Next, Iono Belly Bolt. I honestly think this could be a $50 card, which seems crazy low, dropping close to 50%. But you know, Iono is not as popular over here in English as she is over there in Japan. So there's no waifu tags over here for trainer cards. You know, and Belly Bolt is definitely not as popular for Pokemon compared to the ones on this list. So for that factor, I'm gonna say $50 card at 50% drop, close to 50% drop. Now Hop, I definitely know is not gonna be as popular as to the older trainers, right? He's just a brand new character, Sword and Shield era. I don't know if Sword and Shield was really that beloved for character wise, but my price prediction, $45, crazy low. The 45% drop from where it's at right now. But at $45, that's kind of where, again, gouging fire off my head, the Pokemon 151 starters are around $50 mark. So I just think it's going to be not as popular as those, or just as popular as those, because those are really popular and they're illustration rares. Yeah, $45, $50, $45 is my prediction. Next, we got Volcanion. Honestly, this is like a top 3 best looking card in this set. Like the lava, honestly, with this card with texture, it looks amazing. But how popular Volcanion is amongst collectors, not that popular, at least not in my eyes. So my price prediction, $25. I think most SIRs bottom out around $25 for the newest, or he's not really a new Pokemon, but unpopular Pokemon in my eyes. Around $25 is my price prediction. Now Articuno is currently the favorite card that can pop off, right? Just because it's Generation 1, it's legendary, gorgeous looking card. Illustration rares are easier to manipulate because the price is much lower and it can just jump up very drastically. The Drowsy was around $30 when it got manipulated up to $70, $80. But I think price range for Articuno anywhere between $25, $30. I think $30 is where it can actually hold value because, like I said, legendary, Gen 1, and around $30 is where the Latios is. And honestly, the Latios is a better looking card than the Articuno, and that's holding value around $30. So that's where my comparison, my comp is for Articuno, $30. Wailord, I think, can hit a low of $20, and I think that's fair price. Like, $20 is pretty fair price for most illustration rares. That's usually where a lot of cards linger around the $20 mark. If it goes any higher, it's because more demand is out there for it, obviously. But $20, I think, is a fair price for most illustration rares, and that's where I think this card will get to. Now we got Ens Reshiram. I have not bought the booster box, so I don't have a card. But with I'm just surprised that the stamped version is cheaper than the regular pull version, which is really weird. I thought people liked stamped versions more. But at $25 already, fairly affordable, right? I think it'll at most drop down to $15, $17, somewhere in between that range. Again, I don't know if in the long run the stamp promo will be higher than the regular version, which just seems weird that it isn't yet. But I think in the long run the stamp one will be higher than the regular version. Because why would you not want the stamp version? So those are my price predictions. Comment down below if you think it's too high, too low for any of these cards, what your price prediction is. Again, these are what I expect the lows to hit, not what they're going to be in the long run, right? After 3 to 6 months, most of these cards are going to start shooting up in value because there's less supply out there in general, and there will be less packs of these available to rip at that moment. So prices will start gradually going up because demand will increase for the limited amount of supply of singles out there. But in the first 3 months, I expect prices just gradually keep on dropping until they bottom out around these prices. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.